Every year, I tell myself I'm not gonna watch the whole Bridgerton season in one night, and guess what I end up doing? I'm one of the people that they started breaking it up for because I have no self control at this point. I was very annoyed when part one came out and they left us on that cliffhanger where he asked Sophie to be his mistress, wanted to bust his head up. But it was good. I needed to calm down from that and then come back into part two with a clear head because Benedict was one of my top male leads. And the way he was acting this season had me really messed up. I'm calmer now. I saw it from his point of view. He really thinks this is the only way they can be together. But now we're entering part two. And let me just say right now, I am satisfied with how it ended. I didn't know where they were going to go with this because it's not like we were going to find out Sophie was legitimized. That's what I was really hoping for, but that's not what happened. Instead, they play this little trick that the queen's not stupid. She knew what they were doing, but she found it so funny that they had the audacity to try and play Sophie off as like some distant cousin who is a legitimate um member of the Ton, so that Benedict is free to marry her and she's accepted by society. It amused her so much she just decided to ignore the the deception, and Sophie's free to marry into the Ton. Happy for them. I really did not. I felt so bad for Sophie, and not just how Araminta was treating her, but how alone she felt. Yes, she had her friends, members of staff, but these people didn't really have the power to help Sophie either. If they ever got caught helping her, they could lose their jobs too. Like, if Araminta found out they were helping her, even if they weren't working in her household anymore, you see how determined she was. She would have messed their lives up. And I just gotta say, the scene where Benedict and his mother storm in to rescue Sophie and, are name dropping all the influential people they know, like the Duke, it was so heartwarming. And Sophie, who I felt like was about ready to give up, saw that she actually had people who, with power, who had her back. Now, I'm going to just backtrack a little. I'm going to be all over the place with this review. But circling back to um, where we pick up where we left off with part one. Benedict asked Sophie to be his mistress. She left without responding, looking stricken because she's so insulted and so shocked she doesn't know what to reply. Benedict, for some reason in part two, does not see this as a clear rejection. Like, she didn't say yes, and in fact, she stormed off. Like, sir, why are you sending her letters asking for her answer? He actually thinks this is like, I don't know, an honor. And maybe in his mind, he doesn't really understand how the other side lives. To him, this is, I guess, the best case scenario in his mind for her. Now, she makes it clear this is not, and in fact, he doesn't know her well at all if he thinks this is what she wants. And it takes him some soul searching and speaking to other men for him to realize he never really stated he loves her. He stated he's in lust with her. And I noticed this with all the Bridgerton brothers. Like, they struggle with that word. They let their passions lead before their minds do. Even Anthony, who tries to play himself off as the most responsible brother. But he finally, Benedict finally understands, like, you need to tell Sophie you love her. Even if she decides she doesn't want to be your mistress, you need to make it quite clear you don't want her just because you like her body. You want her because you value her. She's not just a pawn you can, or a toy you can pick up and put down later, because that is her great fear. She saw what happened with her mother, and in fact, what really scares her is that if she falls pregnant, she'll have a child who suffers like she does. They won't be legitimate. They won't have any, access to funds from their father. And in Sophie's mind right now, in this point in time in the story, she thinks her father abandoned her. He never thought about her. She doesn't know he actually left her funds in the will and instructions for Araminta to take care of her. And that was really, I suspected in the back of my mind that Araminta was hiding something from Sophie in the will, but to know that her father not only paid Araminta £4,000 a year, which is a lot of money back then. I feel like, don't quote me on this, I feel like that's like at least five figures in our times money a year to take care of Sophie, and also left her a dowry, intending for Araminta to marry her off to someone. He wanted Sophie to be taken care of. He thought of her as a daughter, just like Araminta's daughters, because he also left dowries for them too. He left them equal sums. And it is, if I were Sophie, I would have broken down crying. To know all these years you thought your father didn't care about you, but he did. He thought of you exactly like the rest of his daughters. And Araminta, I'm going to say the actress, I don't know her name. In my mind, she is still um, Cho from Harry Potter. But the scene where she describes her heartbreak with knowing Sophie's existence, because she thought of she lost her first husband that she had her two daughters with. Then she meets Sophie's father, who she believed was her great love. And to know that maybe he didn't feel the same, and in fact he was hiding this illegitimate daughter from her until after they got married and she's moving in, it broke her heart. And then he dies too. So now she has two daughters, two dead husbands, and now she has this bonus daughter on the side. So she's going through a lot of emotions, and I'm not trying to write off like what she's done. She's truly evil. But to hear her describe that situation like that, hear the pain in her voice, and see how she told her youngest daughter, Posey, the sweet one, how she used to be sweet like her. But after life, beat her up, she became like her older daughter, bitter and manipulative out of a necessity to survive. It kind of added some much needed depth to her character. She's not just an evil stepmother, she is a woman who has gone through a lot and didn't really know how to cope and is not dealing with it well. Interesting. Yeah, it's just what's extra crazy about this though is that Araminta took Sophie's dowry and gave it to her older daughter. And I feel like she low-key knew her daughter had no good she didn't have a good personality, like a good enough personality to catch a man. So she was like, I just have to give her extra funds. Because why didn't she give it to sweet Posey? Like she had to have known Posey could find a man whenever. So she was focusing on the older daughter who no one in their right mind would marry. And I'm not gonna lie, at the Queen's ball, when I guess they announced to the guy who proposed to the older daughter that he didn't have like that extra dowry sum and he took his ring back, I felt bad for them. That was hella embarrassing. Imagine the guy you came to announce to everyone at the ball is marrying you, takes the ring back publicly, shoves your mother to the side, because I saw that. He shoved her mom out his way and leaves you. Embarrassing. I'm just glad Posey's going to be fine. Posey, after speaking with Eloise, and I love this side of Eloise, actually not judging other women of the ton for being interested in something she's not interested in, gives Posey good advice that maybe you should stop focusing on your sister and your mother's wants and focus on what you want. They're so busy wrapped up in their stuff, they don't really care about what you're doing. So you need to care about what you're doing. You need to worry about your own future. And Posey wisely takes Eloise's words into account and goes and dances with the guy who's been trying to dance with her apparently for like countless balls, but her mom has been blocking her. Hater shit. But I see Posey is gonna get married soon. Okay, Posey's gonna be just fine. She's a sweet girl, and I know some people think she's dumb. I don't think she's dumb. I think she is a bit. She sees the good in other people, and unfortunately, that makes her a bit naive. She believes people at face value because she's an innocent soul. She has her heart in the right place. I still love her. I feel like she and Benedict would have some great conversations because he actually enjoyed his time with her in part one when he initially came to see if she was the woman in white from the ball. But yeah, I just love Posey. Sorry, I went on a rant there. Circling back to Sophie, realizing her father actually did love her, and now she has Benedict's love. And now the queen is accepting this lie that she's some legitimate distant cousin of I can't remember the family's name, but now she's free to marry Benedict. And I heard some spoilers from the people who read the books, but they end up having so many kids. And the first daughter they name after Violet, which is beautiful because Violet was pushing for them. This could have turned out so badly for Violet and her family if people found out that Benedict was courting a maid, an illegitimate maid. And I just love how she goes hard for her kids. Like, she expresses her worry, which as a mother she should, because her children's decisions don't just impact them, it impacts the whole family. And anyway, loved it. Now, Francesca, I was feeling I was seeing this other side to her, this jealousy. Um, she, I don't know. At certain points, I was like, "Geez, Fran, just relax. Let the cousins like enjoy each other." But I can see she's having feelings she may not really understand for Michaela, and that's what's setting her off. But they become friends, which I love. However, I saw coming like her husband passing. Every time he was like, "Oh, I don't feel well. Oh, headache." And then once he said he was going to bed, wake me up when dinner is supposed to start, I was like, it's over. He's done. I know like back then healthcare is not what it is today, but I'm assuming he had like a stroke or something and he died in his sleep. It's so heartbreaking. And seeing Fran, who thought she found her person, lose him. What's even worse is that she asked Michaela to stay with her and Michaela left. And I understand why. I think I understand why Michaela left. But Jesus, jeez, she's gonna feel the actress, first of all, who plays Francesca, amazing. That scene where she broke down, where she's telling her mother, "You and I are not the same, even though we both lost our husbands. Your husband left you with what, 7, 8 kids?" Fran, who had been worried about conceiving forever and was not able to, first feels guilty she's not able to carry on her husband's line, right? And this is an important thing back then. The purpose of a wife, honestly, back then was just to carry on the name, like have an heir to carry on the name and the property and the title. She was not able to do that. Then she did not have her husband long. What is it, like a year? Less than a year they've been married before he passed away. I felt so bad for her. So her breakdown really, like, it had me really emotional just watching it. So then the scene where Benedict has to defend her to, I think the guy's a lawyer for the crown. Basically, he's like, "We need to pass the title on." And Fran is like, "But I'm pregnant." And I don't know if she was lying or she really thought she was pregnant, but she had to go through an embarrassing physical evaluation by some doctor. And um my God, having her mother and her sister hold her hands while she's going through this uncomfortable thing. And it was just very, her, all her scenes, I think it was in episode 6 or 7, I don't know, it was just so hard to watch. And I really sympathized with Francesca. I don't know if they're dedicating the new season to her, next season to her and Michaela, how that's gonna work. But God, I really, I think I'm gonna read that book, the Michael and Francesca book, in advance, because I cannot wait a year or two for Netflix to come out with that. I need to find out what happens. So sad. Um, but now I'm getting to the surprise of the season. I was wondering if they were gonna bring Cressida back. I'm actually glad she's back. You know, I hated Cressida at first. However, I understood why Cressida was the way she was once we met her family, especially her father. My God. She lucked out by marrying this guy, and I wonder if she really loves him, but she looks happy. She has free reign to add color to her home, whereas her parents' home is drab and gray and looks so depressing. She's free to express herself however she wants. She makes everything pink. She's joyful, she's smiling, she's even, I feel like, holding herself different from the last season. And she actually started reading books that Eloise recommended, like she's heard Eloise talk about. I love that for them. I love that their friendship is back, and Penelope found a way to forgive Cressida for her actions. I don't know if I would be that strong because she tortured her for years, but I'm glad it happened. Now, um, we also have to say goodbye to Lady Danbury, and I don't know if this is permanently, but her scenes with the Queen, where the Queen says she doesn't know what she's going to do without her, because truly, if you think about it, it's George, who's has dementia or schizophrenia, who's not, always mentally present, and Lady Danbury, who know the real Queen Charlotte. She doesn't seem like she's close to her children. So Lady Danbury leaving is actually very sad for her, and she's scared she's not going to see her. But she promises to write. They have one last good laugh where they're cackling. It was so funny. Like they're cackling like the best of friends, like girlfriends, just, sharing tea, kikiing. It was beautiful to watch. And I hope Lady Danbury comes back eventually just so she can see her friend, because I'm sure we're going to have a situation where King George passes away and Charlotte's going to need her best friend for that. But I'm glad to see Lady Mondrich steps into the role in a different way. She was trying so hard to be like Lady Danbury, but realized she needs to play the game in her own way. And she did. And I feel like she's going to do great as a lady's maid. We don't really hear from the rest of them. They're just back there holding the dogs. But this one seems like she can be a friend to the queen. Anyway, I absolutely love this. I loved part two. I think I'm gonna rewatch it. My mom needs to watch part two, so I'm gonna watch it with her, and then she needs to go back and watch Queen Charlotte. So I think I'm gonna watch that with her and do a review there too. But I'll keep you posted. Let me know how you guys felt about the season and what were your favorite parts. Who was your favorite couple?